What is up, Packer fans, football fans, guys, who's ever out there listening? What is up? Okay, so we all have that. Either it's an announcer like a John Madden, Pat Summerall, or it's college football, or it's Sunday night, Monday night, you name it. Okay, so there is that either that theme song or that person's voice that makes you think football, gives you goosebumps. Who is that person, or what's that theme song for you guys? Leave your comments. Let me know. For me, without a doubt, it is the sweet sound of Monday night football. Guys, I've got goosebumps thinking about it right now. I cannot wait. Packers, Raiders. When you think football, you think these two teams, two very talented teams historically. But before I get into it, guys, take a second to subscribe. Okay. So the Packers going into tonight's game, they are just learning they're going to be more than likely without a key player. And I'm not talking David Bakhtiari. Okay. So that's old news. It's unfortunately news that has been repeating itself. An article just came out that said, despite returning last week and the expectation of ramping up in the second game back from a hamstring injury, Green Bay Packers running back Aaron Jones, who was listed as questionable, is unlikely to go against the Las Vegas Raiders on Monday Night Football, per Tom Pelissero of NFL Network. Pelissero notes Jones made the trip to Las Vegas and his status is up in the air. It is possible Jones will be game time decision. Game day inactives are due 90 minutes before kickoff or around 5:45 p.m. Central Time. Guys, that is super unfortunate news for the Packers. That's huge. Okay, so that we all know that the Packers offense filters through Aaron Jones. Okay, so if he's not out there, if he's not going to be playing, guys, that is huge. Okay, Packers have got to do two things in order to come up with a victory. Two things. Okay, number one, they have got to be able to stop the run game of Josh Jacobs. Okay, if you look up articles, you look up Packers, you're seeing all this Devontae Adams talk. And yes, I get he is an ex-Packer. I get he's one of the best receivers in the league. But to me, the key to them winning is going to be defensively stopping Josh Jacobs. Devontae Adams, I get he's a stud, but we're going to get Jair back. We've got Razul. Stokes is going to be back there. So here's the thing. Packers, they do okay secondary wise. When you break down the Packers 5 games, okay, or 4 games so far, let's talk about that a second. So the Packers rushing, they allowed 122 yards versus the Bears. DJ Moore, their number one target there, 2 catches, 25 yards. Okay, so they did a good job stopping him because they have the guys to be able to do that. Versus Atlanta, they gave up 211 yards on the ground. Drake London is their top wide out there, 6 catches, 67 yards, and a touchdown. They kept him in check. Versus the New Orleans Saints, they do not have a run game there in that game. They're without obviously suspended Kamara as well as Jamal Williams. They give up 77 yards on the game on the ground, but Joe Barry, you would think, would have been like, okay, we know that they're not going to kill us on the ground. Let's stop the pass game. Chris Olave goes off, 8 catches, 104 yards. Michael Thomas chases that up with 6 catches, 50 yards. Okay, a game that they should have been keying in on the passing. They didn't. Then they play the Lions, and Montgomery looks like Josh Jacobs, okay, which he's not. He gets a healthy amount of that. I think he had like 135 yards. They end up with 211 total yards rushing. St. Brown, they keep in check relatively, right? 5 catches, 56 yards, and a touchdown. They've got to stop the run. I know Devontae Adams, let's just say he gets 100 yards. That's not going to kill them, but Josh Jacobs certainly will. He's off to a slow start. I understand that. I get that. He hasn't had a game over 63 yards yet, but that's until he goes against the Packers defense. Okay. We all know that. Let's not forget this guy last season. He had 1,700 yards, 4.86 yards per carry, 12 rushing touchdowns. Let's not forget the guy can catch, right? He had over 400 yards receiving last season. He can do it all. He's a complete package. So what is this article from 2019 that state in 2019? It says Josh Jacobs sets career high in rushing yards versus the Packers. Let's hope that does not repeat itself. Okay. So that being said, Packers have got to, number one, they've got to stop Josh Jacobs. Okay. That is key. That's what they've got to do. Number 2 is they've got to be able to, without Aaron Jones there, they've got to be able to protect the ball. And Jordan Love has got to be able to do that with Crosby breathing down his neck. Okay, so let's take a look at what the Raiders have done so far this season on defense. So the Raiders defense is off to a poor start. Entering Monday, it ranks 27th in yards allowed per play overall, 23rd in rushing yards per play, and 27th in passing yards per play. It is 30th in sack percentage, 32nd in interception percentage, and 26th on third down. Okay. I thought the Packers had a bad defense. And then you look up them. Okay. So the Packers have got to do their job, and they have got to stop the run game of Josh Jacobs, and they've got to protect the ball in order to come with a win. If they do come up with a win, they're 3-2 entering their bye week. Aaron Jones is able to get healthy, and guys that have been having these lingering injuries that have just been lasting awfully too long, they're able to get healthy, and they're within an arm's reach of the Detroit Lions and the division of the NFC North. Guys, leave your comments. What do you think? Go Pack.